Hey, it's Tom Zeeb with Traction Real Estate Mentors for Mount Rushmore. And in this video, I'm going to talk about if you had a Mount Rushmore for real estate entrepreneurs, who should be on it? Who's been my four people on my real estate investors Mount Rushmore? Keep it rolling and stay tuned. As I sit at Mount Rushmore today and I look at four great presidents who did great things for America, I can't help but thinking, who were my four people in business? As a real estate entrepreneur, who would I put on my real estate Mount Rushmore? Well, here goes. First and foremost, I would put Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, because the Rich Dad Poor Dad book massively expanded my mindset, totally changed my way of thinking, and I finally understood that I was a frustrated entrepreneur, and it gave me the path forward. And I'm sure many people watching this video, there's many people that come to my seminars and go to my events, have all gotten started by Robert Kiyosaki. So I think he has to be first and foremost on my Mount Rushmore. Number two, I would put Roger Dawson, a negotiation trainer. His work, his materials, his books, his training did wonders for me in terms of negotiation. The single greatest skill I learned that made me awesome in business was what Roger Dawson taught me. And I know a lot of people say they love my negotiation trainings and that it's really brought it home and makes it make sense for them. And I totally agree, but I learned kind of my basic core negotiation philosophy from Roger Dawson. And so he definitely earns a place on my Mount Rushmore. Number three, I'm going to put Al Aiello. So the late, great Al Aiello, who taught me to pay attention to tax law, the tax code, and how I could stop losing money as a real estate investor, right? Because you're an entrepreneur, an investor, you make money, you make profit, and then that gets taken away in taxes. Al taught me how to control for that in taxes. I learned how to control that through corporate structures and tax planning and tax code and understanding the tax code at a deep level. Al passed away a few years ago. His business partner, Bill Knoll, took over from. Bill Knoll was Al's tax attorney. So Al would come up with these ideas and Bill would always make sure things were perfectly compliant with the tax law. And I still have Bill speak for my group for Traction Real on a regular basis. I have him in at least once a year because the information is that important. And that's why Al and let's say Bill belong on Mount Rushmore as well, my Mount Rushmore of real estate entrepreneurship. Number four is an author you may or may not have heard of. His name is Robert Ringer. And I was thinking about who are the real fundamental thinkers that sculpted me 20 plus years ago when I started off as a real estate entrepreneur. And Robert Ringer was one of them. He'd written a book called Winning Through Intimidation. And I guess he thought the name sounded a little harsh. So when he put out the rewrite of it and republished it as Winning Through Intimidation, or To Be or Not to Be Intimidated, sorry. To Be or Not to Be Intimidated, Robert Ringer. Fantastic book. And in many ways I thought about going, it's all about life in the business jungle. He says, you're going to enter into business and the business is a jungle. And a lot of jungle creatures are out there to do one thing, and that's to crush you, destroy you, and eat you alive. And if you come in with too much of a Mr. Nice Guy approach, you're going to get devastated and destroyed. And that might have been the first time, that's very much kind of a red pill. And 20 years ago, nobody was talking about a red pill, but might have been the first time I really got red pilled in business for what that was. And it was kind of funny because just as I had finished reading the book, I wound up dealing with an investor who reminded me exactly of one of the villains in the book. And I was constantly watching how this guy I'm like, what did he do? Read the book and take the role of the villain? Because everything this guy did was an attempt to crush me, intimidate me, take advantage of me, and try to, at the end of the day, take all the, Robert Ringer talks about when the chips are on the table, the villain's gonna grab all the chips and take them all for himself. And that was exactly what this investor was trying to do to me, and I thought about it, but I was ready for it and knew how to handle it because of having read Robert Ringer's book. So I think Robert Ringer, in terms of philosophy of being a real estate entrepreneur, or being any sort of entrepreneur, being on your own in business, and taking that initial red pill, again, which I don't think he would have called it, but it makes perfect sense today. That's why he's earned a place on my Mount Rushmore as well. So that's my Mount Rushmore. I could probably think of more people probably belong there. Maybe four faces isn't enough, but when I think about who my foundational people were, it's those four. Who are your four? Who are your four people? Have you thought that through? Who are the four people that you want to follow, emulate, and build a business in a similar fashion to? Because when you know who that is, it makes it a lot easier to follow somebody and then build from there, rather than think you're going to follow everybody or nobody. Then nothing winds up happening. So I encourage you to think through who your 4 are. Let me know. Click reply to this email, post it on the link in Facebook, and tell me, who are your 4 people? Who are the 4 faces you would put on your Mount Rushmore of real estate business entrepreneurs? Tom Zeeb for Traction Real Estate Mentors from Mount Rushmore in South Dakota, signing off. And it's just big noise of a wheelbarrow coming down the hill. That's all right, I'll give it a second.